Hello, everybody. Today, let's take a look at this poll for Morning Consult. It's tracking public opinion of Trump's Washington. That's going to be his and other approval ratings, also how each side is doing on the issues. So this is just one source, but it does use over 2,200 registered voters. So let's get down into it. Of course, this is a midterm year. We're still some months away, but let's see what the key takeaways are. Trump's approval rating sinks. His approval is underwater at 51%, 46 approved. And they mentioned the administration's approach to what's happening in Minnesota. That was one of Trump's major strengths leading up to the 24 election. But as I said back then, there's bound to be some overreaches, and that could sway public opinion. Looks like that's happening. So let's get into the juicier stuff. Here's Trump's approval. We've got 28% strongly approved, 44 strongly disapprove. So a lot of negative sentiment there. With the Democrats, we've got 3% that strongly approve, 7% of Republicans strongly disapprove. But how about independents? 51% strongly disapprove, just 11% strongly approve. So that's going to be a problem there for Trump. You can't have a 29% approval rating with independents and have success in the next election. Now, what about other politicians? Well, the Republicans in Congress are underwater by 5, 43 to 48. It's not far away from the Democrats. They're at 41 to 49. So it's kind of a coin flip at this point. Dems bottomed out after the 24 election, but they've been regrouping. J.D. Vance is at 41 to 47. Then after that, their name ID is just going to go way lower. Senate Majority Leader John Thune is at just 18% approved, but also just 23% disapprove. 37%, they don't know who this guy is. If we go down here, voters' priorities for the Trump administration. Lowering costs should be a top priority at 73%, but just 48% think that it is. A lot of these are going to be related. We've got healthcare affordability. That's at 71, but only 48% think he's doing it. Now, everything isn't completely terrible here for Trump, but even stopping illegal immigration. Now just 42% think it should be a top priority, but 59% think that it is. Same with mass deportations. That's at 37 to 54. Imposing tariffs. That's at 21, but 44% think that he's doing it. So there's starting to be a lot of similarities here with the Biden administration. A couple of years ago, issue after issue, Biden looked terrible. Now more than a year into the next Trump term, Trump not looking great either. There's always a few differences between the two parties, but affordability, that's the main one that neither side seems to be able to crack. Now, how about Trump's performance on the issues? Even though some of the tactics might be too harsh at this point, he's still above water on immigration by 4, 49 to 45. National security is also above. Energy, he's above by 1. Taxes, he's down by 1. Even the economy, which is the generic big issue, he's only underwater by 6, 44 to 50. The big one that I think is going to get Trump is healthcare. He's at 40% approve, 51 disapprove. That's what I think Dems should focus on headed into the midterms. Now, they're also going to focus on affordability, but they're already just in office up until recently, and most people were totally unsatisfied. Next, we've got this. Congressional trust on the issues. Which side do voters trust more? On immigration, Republicans lead by 7, 47 to 40. They also lead by 8 on national security. The economy is completely even at 43 each. The Dems have pretty clear advantages on healthcare, Medicare, and Social Security, and abortion. I'm not sure how big of a concern this is for most voters, but the one that the Dems have the biggest advantage on is LGBTQ plus rights. Next, we could go down here. What have voters heard about each of the following in the past week? With Trump, it's 54% negative, just 30% positive. Republicans in Congress, 24 positive, 41 negative. Democrats in Congress, just 23% mostly positive, 33% mostly negative. So not quite as bad there for the Dems. And Mike Johnson and John Thune, a clear majority have not heard a word about either of these two guys. Next, down here, what have voters heard about each of the following issues? Immigration, 52% say it's mainly negative, just 24 mainly positive. Every one of these is clearly underwater. Even abortion, just 12% positive and 25 negative. When you look at this, it's really hard to not just think that voters are tired of politicians in general, no matter who's in power. So it looks like the Dems are going to be making some gains, but once they get back into power, if things don't dramatically improve, Republicans are going to come right back. So that's pretty much it for this poll. Down here, we've got the methodology. So Dems, again, I think should be running on the economy / affordability and then healthcare. They might try to run on immigration now that the pendulum is swinging back. But overall, I think most voters don't really like the Dems' position on immigration. That's kind of what happened under Biden. So it seems like nothing can ever just stop in the middle. The overreaches keep happening. So I don't know how the Republicans are going to get out of this one. They have to hope the economy turns around. Even though they're going to be preferred on certain issues like the border and crime, it's probably not going to be as important anymore as healthcare and also affordability. So it's always stressful in politics. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about any of this data? How about Trump's approval rating? Are you surprised it's not higher? How about lower? What about on the specific issues? What should Trump change course on to improve his rating? And what about those specific issues? What should the Democrats run on? Which issues favor each side? Let me know what you think down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.